Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 12 starts off where we left off on Chapter 11, with Boruto standing in between Hidari and Sarada. Now, Boruto puts Himawari down and tells Konohamaru to protect her. Now, Hidari comes in with the slash and Boruto blocks it with his sword, and then uses wind-style breakthrough to push Hidari back, and Hidari goes flying back and then falls into his claw mark, and everybody gets ready for his next attack. Then we cut over to Kawaki and Delta basically doing nothing. They're just looking at Jura. They show up to Jura and they're like, what's he doing just standing there? They don't confront him, they don't fight him, they don't do nothing. So it's just kind of like, what are they doing? So then we cut over to Boruto and the others trying to get ready for Hidari. And Konohamaru is like, darn you, Boruto, how dare you show your face in this village? And Sarada's like, I would have died if Boruto didn't come here. Like, he's trying to help. Like, leave him alone, Konohamaru. Which is like, I know it's omnipotence, but it's, put it together, Konohamaru. So Boruto notices a sensory ninja and tells him, hey, pay attention to the claw marks. You sense any chakra whatsoever, you let me know. And then the sensory ninja's like, you're a traitor, you don't give me orders, blah, 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 blah. And then Sumire comes in and she says, Boruto, that Shinju, Hidari, is after Sarada. It was fighting Konohamaru, and the second it laid eyes on Sarada, it went straight for her. And so Sarada was like, confirms it. She says, he was going to devour me, he said. It has something to do with Sasuke becoming a tree, isn't it? And then Konohamaru is kind of like, wait, by turn into a tree, do you mean like what happened to Moegi? And it's just like, yes, like what everybody was going through today. So I don't know why he asks pointless questions. Yes, it's all connected, Konohamaru. So anyways, Boruto explains that Sasuke's chakra is a source for Hidari. So it basically makes up his own chakra. So he has, like, let's say his body is the tree, right? And then his body will take shape, or the chakra will form it to allow him to use the Chidori in fire style. Like, that chakra, like, copies itself onto him, and he uses it as a source, basically. So it says that defeating Hidari is their main goal, and don't hold back. And Konohamaru is kind of like, where did you learn all of this info, Boruto? And again, he asks pointless questions. Like, I think a better question in that moment would have been like, what happens when we defeat him? Or something like, if they're connected, if we destroy his chakra, what happens to the person in the tree? Like, that's a better question, rather than, how did you learn all of this, Boruto? It's like, just accept that he knows it, okay? So then the sensory ninja tells everybody, all right, the claw marks, I sense some chakra all over the place. And Boruto's like, where? He's like, everywhere. And all the claw grimes pop out of the claw marks. And Boruto's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to cut them down. And Sarada, you protect yourself against all of them, okay? They're going to be coming after you. So just deal with those and I'll deal with the rest of them. And she's like, okay. And then Konohamaru kind of protects Sumire, protects Himawari and everybody else. So Boruto starts slicing and dicing all of them, and then one comes after Sarada and she kicks it, and then out comes Hidari's hand and grabs Sarada through the claw grime. And now she's like, oh no, she's basically going to be trapped again. But then Boruto throws a shuriken on the claw grime that Hidari's popping out of, and uses flying Raijin to teleport behind Hidari, and then uses a Rasengan just like his grandfather before him. And he uses Rasengan right down on him. That flying Raijin Rasengan combo is deadly. And then he hurts Hidari, and then Hidari escapes through the claw grime, or the claw mark or whatever. And so we see Hidari heal himself using a tree, kind of in the same way that we saw Madara heal himself through a tree. It's kind of like a life source, and it allows him to be revived. So it heals all of his damage, basically. And that kind of cube tree area, we could just call that their hideout, or like their home base, basically. So then we see Hidari pop back up, and he can create claw marks just using his Renegon eye. So unlike Code, where he physically has to like slice it or like claw it into the ground, we just see Hidari activate his eye, and then all the claw marks appear. What we don't really know is whether or not he could put them on like Boruto or Sarada. If he could, he would have. So I imagine he can only put it on like, let's say, the ground or like buildings and stuff. So we don't know everything about it. But anyways, Sarada tells Boruto, you go up into the sky to get it away from the claw marks, and then the rest of us will kind of like figure out how to keep them up there. And Boruto says, no, I'm going to use the Uzuhiko, and I'm going to be able to destroy it in one shot. But what he needs to do in order to use Uzuhiko is have both of his feet planted on the ground to absorb the planet's rotation and chakra. And that's how he's able to use Uzuhiko. So we learn a little bit more about Uzuhiko. There are some limits to it. He can't just do it up in the sky. He has to be physically attached to the earth with both feet on the ground to absorb the rotation of the earth. So Sarada says, okay, I guess we'll buy you time to get enough strength to one-shot Hidari. Then Hidari comes up trying to hit Boruto, and Konohamaru protects him using a Rasen barrier, kind of like a spin-off or kind of a variation of the Rasengan, and he uses that barrier to protect Boruto. And Boruto's like, I thought I told you to protect Himawari. And he's like, I'll do whatever I want. Just hurry up with your jutsu. And we see like the sensory ninja take care of Himawari and Sumire and them. And so Hidari comes up again via the claw marks and grabs Sarada. And Sarada uses a Chidori string to shock Hidari. And then she grabs Hidari by the arm and pulls him up into the sky. And then Boruto is kind of like, oh snap. Sarada says, you ready, Boruto? And he's like, not really. It's not been enough time, but I guess it's now or never. And then he touches Hidari and uses Rasengan Uzuhiko. And awesome. I think it was pretty cool the way that it was drawn. Great, cool panels of Rasengan Uzuhiko. And then we see Hidari basically destroyed, partially. We see like his bottom half is kind of like destroyed, like below his torso or whatever. He only has like one arm. And Boruto kind of is like, oh snap, I didn't hit him. I didn't have enough strength in the Uzuhiko to destroy him. If he falls onto the ground to the claw marks, he'll be able to escape and then heal himself, and then we'll have to do this all over again. So then Hidari's like falling to the ground, and then we see all of the claw marks shrink or disappear. And we realize that Kawaki shows up and gets Hidari while he's weak and down, and then blasts him like he does to everybody else, basically. And he destroys Hidari right then and there. And then from the ashes of Hidari, we see some sort of seed or bulb take form. And right then and there, Boruto kind of grabs it, shows it to the toad on his shoulder, and goes like, is this what you were talking about? And Kashin Koji confirms it. He calls it a thorn soul bulb. Soul thorn bulb, thorn soul bulb, you know, whatever you want to call it. But I kind of like soul thorn bulb better, but thorn soul bulb it is for this chapter. Kawaki is then kind of like, what's going on? And Boruto's like, let go of me, Kawaki. He's like, how do you know what this is? Tell me what it is now. And he says, it's something that's going to help me save my master. Something that's going to help me save Sasuke. And Kawaki's like, who told you this? Who said this? Like, how did you come by this information? And as he's like holding on to Boruto, Boruto's like, let go or I'll cut your arm off. And then in that moment, we see a sniper shot. And Boruto gets shot straight through the chest or the abdomen. And he's just kind of like, gah! He falls to the ground and everybody's like, Boruto! And we see that Jura shot a tailed beast bomb, like sniper, straight through Boruto. And then it's kind of like, oh snap, what's gonna, like, he just got shot and now he's on the ground now. And so Sarada, after hearing Boruto say that it's something that could save Sasuke, she reaches for it, and then boom, she gets shot in the arm by Jura as well. So he's deadly with that thing. We then see the thorn soul bulb fly over to Jura. He grabs it and he looks over towards Boruto and goes like, he knows too much about us. He knows about the thorn soul bulb too. And he goes like, I've just made the decision. You're going to die, Boruto. Kawaki alone is going to be enough for us to devour and to turn into the divine tree and whatnot. And that's where the chapter ends. And I have to say, that is a crazy way to end the chapter. Boruto gets sniper shotted. You know, he takes the Thol-Sorn bulb, holding Sasuke inside of it. You know what I mean? It's crazy. That is a crazy way to end the chapter. And so I think that there was so much that happened in this chapter. And there was also like bits and pieces that I wish that we kind of missed, like Konohamaru asking the wrong questions. Like if he had asked better questions, I think we would have gotten like a little bit more details on certain stuff, but hey, it is what it is. But in terms of moving like the story forward, Hidari's still going after Sarada. Jura shoots Boruto. He goes down. We learn what the Thorn Soul Bulb is, and we kind of have an idea of like that containing Sasuke's soul or his chakra, and being able to like put that back into his tree will bring him back or whatnot. So that's cool. It's cool little theories like that. The action was really great. We got to see Boruto use a Rasengan. We saw Sarada use a Chidori Stream. We saw Rasengan Uzahiko again. We saw Rasen Barrier from Konohamaru. We basically got to see a little bit from some of the key players in the battle against the Shinju. And then Kawaki destroys Hidari. And I think that's kind of like perfect for their characters. Is like Boruto does majority of all the work, and then Kawaki just swoops in and just takes the kill right under them. Like he doesn't put any of the work in per se. So could be a little understanding of their characters and whatnot. But and then we learn a little bit about the Thorn Soul Bulb, like I said, and their characters. Like Boruto is after that, or destroying them creates that, you know. We also know that Jura's threatened by Boruto's knowledge and knowing about the Thorn Soul Bulb. And by definition, he's also scared of Kashin Koji, knowing what he knows about them. So how do they know? We don't know yet. But it is interesting. And then in terms of like the world of Boruto, those Thorn Soul Bulbs are pretty important. Destroying the Shinju could help bring back Sasuke and Moegi and everybody else. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they move forward with it. And then the ending. I mean, Boruto's shot down and Jura's now going for the kill against Boruto. So that way Kawaki's the only Otsutsuki left. And that is crazy. A crazy way to end off the chapter. So until chapter 13, that's where we are. We're in that state of limbo where Boruto's down and the Shinju are going to take Sasuke's Thorn Soul Bulb away, or Hidari's, whatever. So we'll have to see. But yeah, until then, thank you guys so much for watching. Oh, hold on. Overall, I give this chapter an 8.8 out of 10. I thought it was really good. I thought that there were so many great action panels and shots, like the Rasengan Uzahiko and the Rasen Barrier and the Chidori Stream. It all looked really cool. I feel like we were missing a little bit more of I guess, characterization from more characters or learning more about them. But that's always, again, in another chapter we could. So we'll have to see. But great chapter, 8.8. Thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah.